Hey, everybody, this is Davis over at CFG, and I would like to welcome you to another episode of Pop Culture Gems. This is a series where we talk to amazing creators, artists, cosplayers, voice actors, and so much more. If you like the interviews we do with these amazing guests, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel, the CFG channel, or you can either go to our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com, or listen to it on any podcast services out there. Today, my guest is an icon in the voice acting world with over 600 credits to his name. He has done it all. You may have grown up with his voice without even knowing it, but some of the incredible roles he is in are Jigen from Lupin the Third, Bato from Ghost in the Shell, the Joker, as well as the Lightning God himself, Raiden in Injustice and in the Mortal Kombat series, the recent Mortal Kombat series, Ansem in Kingdom Hearts, Akuma in SF5, Joseph Joestar in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and so many, many more. We literally would be here all day. I would I would like to welcome Richard Epcar to the show. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Great. Thanks for having me. Thank you. I think we should sit here and name each and every character that I've ever done. I think that would be great.
If we can get like what's his name, like Paulson, and do like his Yakko impersonation of the world, like all the countries in the world, that's exactly what you deserve. That at this point, that's what it would
He's
be.
great. I love Rob. He's a good man. Very good man.
No, but no, it's great. I'm really glad to have you here. It was really awesome. I would love to geek out with you today. So let's get this started. So amongst like being also an actor, director, producer, I mean, you've been in voice acting for a long time, for a good time. Initially, what brought you into the world of voice acting like early in your career?
Well, I originally came to Los Angeles to be an on-camera actor, which I did a lot of that. I did a lot of soaps and TV shows and that sort of thing. And I was in a repertory theater company, and I met my wife, Ellen Stern, and she was had a lead in a film that she was doing, and the people who were doing that film had another film that they wanted to replace the voices on. And she said, "Can I bring my boyfriend?" Now, this is a long, long time ago, but can I bring my boyfriend with me, who was me at the time? And they said, sure. And the guy said, "Have you ever done this before?" I said, "Oh, I've done it a million times. I never did it before in my life." And I went in and I was, what it was dubbing for a live action film. They were replacing the voices of the actors. So they liked me for the lead guy, and I booked that. And this company really liked what I did. And I took to it like a duck to water because I'm also a drummer and there's a lot of rhythm to dubbing. So I got that job, and then they had me come in for a bunch of other jobs, and I just worked constantly. And from that job, I got a part in Robotech, which was the one of the first animes that was on network television. And excuse me, we did that show, and I never thought anything would come up from it, but it just blew up. And I after that, I just worked constantly, and I've never stopped working since. And I've just been doing every day, almost every day, I have a voice job. It's been insane, and it gets better every year. You would think it would be winding down, but it's getting more and more crazy. So,
Well, I mean, I'm just amazed because like it's actually kind of great to like. I love the fact that you're here because like I don't usually talk to people who started voice acting like basically in the 80s. So, I mean, like it's a good amount of time,
back in the Stone Age.
Yeah, back in the Stone Age, exactly. Because
before
like
we had fire.
that's exactly it. Because like you're saying, Robotech was one of the first dub or like animes that legitimately came to the States seriously.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
yeah, but like I'm just like surprised like how far we have come from then to like what it is today. And it's just
It's there's so much content. And then my wife and I are being hired by a lot of these companies to direct a lot of these live action shows for Netflix and the other, some of these other places, HBO and Paramount Plus. Some of these other companies are hiring us to direct a lot of the dubs of these foreign films into English, which we've been doing for years and years and as well. And we've done a lot of Academy Award winning films and that sort of thing as well. So we've been doing all this stuff a long time. And in fact, I was a supervisor for DreamWorks. I went all over the world
Oh,
and
wow.
supervise different our movies into other languages, and that was a really fun gig. I did that for almost 2 years, and went all over the world, and had a ball doing that.
You didn't just voice it, man. Were a person with many hats. My goodness.
Yes, I do have a lot of hats. That's true. That's
Jeez.
true. That's very
You know,
true.
it's funny. It's kind of weird. I have a weird memory because I'm like, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, there was a movie, or I don't know I don't remember what it was, but you look like the guy from like a movie I saw with Scott Bio or something that you threw like from like Charles in Charge. That's like just threw him
I
into a
actually
pool.
I threw Scott Baio into the pool. Yeah,
Yeah,
we were.
was that you?
Yeah, it was me. That was me. Yeah,
Okay.
I told you I did a lot of television when I first came out, and that was one of the jobs that I did, and that was on Diagnosis Murder.
Oh, with Dick Van
I
Dyke.
was I was Dick Van Dyke. I worked with him many times. I was on that show 4 or 5 times actually as different characters. And this one guy, he was trying to. I guess Scott Baio was trying to find something out about somebody. And he came and asked my wife, and my wife's going, "This guy's bothering me," and so I throw him in the pool.
You look like look like you were 9 feet tall. If I remember, like, you
Well,
just
I
look
kind
like.
of am 9 feet tall, so I got all the 9 feet tall roles. So I played all those big tall characters. Yeah. And that's why actually I was in a movie called Memoirs of an Invisible Man with Chevy Chase and Daryl Hannah and Sam Neill.
Mhm.
And one of the reasons I think I got that part was because they wanted someone to look intimidating next to Daryl Hannah, because Daryl Hannah's a very tall girl. She's either almost 6 foot or 6 foot tall.
Oh, wow.
She's a very tall girl. So uh, they wanted somebody to kind of look bigger next to her.
Wow.
So that was I think that was one of the reasons I got that part.
That must have been really tricky to find someone really to overtower her, but that is so
Well, Chevy
cool.
Chase is a tall guy too, so he worked out well with her too. But yeah, that was one of the funnest experiences I've ever had doing anything. And we shot on that I was on it for 10, 11 weeks. And we shot a couple of weeks in San Francisco and shot a bunch of stuff here at Warner Brothers at the back lot there at Stage 16. And that was great. That was really great.
That sounds so awesome. And in your own view, like how much has voice acting evolved from when you started doing it to now to the present?
It's grown leaps and bounds. It really has. I mean, um, I think it's gotten so much better. If you look at some of the old stuff, it just sounds really kind of stilted and weird. But because everyone's really trying to hit the lip sync, which is we still do that. I mean, we still try to make it, but now we try to make it a little more natural. And there's a lot of tools to help us now. There's Pro Tools, as we were talking about earlier, which you can shift the lines left or right. You can expand them. You can contract them to make them fit the lip flaps, and you can do a lot of stuff with it and just cut it up and do all kinds of things that we couldn't do when we started out. When we started out, it's what I like to call it combat dubbing, because basically we had a script and it had the time code burned onto the film, and the time code was on the script, and you had to look at the screen and grab the line as it was coming. Now we have beeps, which beep you in. There's 3 beeps. They go boop, boop, boop. And then on the 4th imaginary beep is when the line actually starts. So you don't even have to think about that stuff anymore. But when I first started out, you really had to watch the screen and really try to get it in there. And we would go back and forth, as many times as we had to in order to make it fit into the mouth flaps of the character you were dubbing. So that was not easy.
Yeah, like I said, like in the 80s, iconic films back in the day. Akira was one of the. It was
Yeah.
such a great film, but man, I could not listen to it dubbed because
Yeah.
of how like either there's fast motions. I guess it's another thing because like translation wise, was there much like that went into the translations, the direct translations from Japanese to English? Because some of it seems like they were saying paragraphs but they want you to be talking 10 times fast so it all fits in the same
Well,
in the same length,
movies like Akira, and I hate to say it, but a lot of times when the big studios get these movies, they don't really know what to do with them because dubbing is not their forte, really.
Mhm.
Let's face it. and you had sound people working on these things that they did not know lip sync. They did not know how to do that stuff. So they did the best, rendition of it, I guess they could at the time. But they really should have gotten people like myself who do this stuff all the time and really know how this stuff works. And a lot of these big movies that were at the major studios, they don't look so great because
Mhm.
they're they're just not, they're done by people that just don't understand lip sync and how to make it work and how to make it look like English. When I do it, I hope to get it to the point where when you're watching it as a viewer, you forget it's a dub. You're watching a dub thing, and you just get into the story,
Right.
and you forget about it being dubbed. And if you do that, then I've done my job.
Yeah, that's very true. And yes, you have done your job. Very much so. So like and like with over like the 600 roles and counting, you've done several types of characters.
Yeah.
Like what is the weirdest role that you could remember that you've done? Like I mean, we could like or more like you we see you like we're on the subway or we're in a taxi or somewhere and we're like, oh, why is Richard Epcar talking to us like randomly? Like, was there any of those kind of
Oh,
like
there's
weird
been a
ones?
lot of them. I'm trying to remember some.
Uh-huh.
Sadly, I can't really remember any of them, but
Uh
there's been some weird ones. As far as being weird characters, there was a show called Monster that I did a few years ago,
oh
and
yeah, that's a great anime series.
Inspector Lunge is a very strange character, and he was a lot of fun to play him. There was another character, Ziggurat 8, Ziggy in Xenosaga,
Oh,
which is a
Xenosaga.
game,
Yeah, but the
and
legs.
he was a really fun, bizarre character, but really fun to play. And I've been very, very lucky. I've got to play some, hundreds of characters, a lot of really fun characters, iconic characters like the Joker. It doesn't get more iconic than that.
Hmm.
And I've been very, very fortunate to play all those kinds of characters. And like I say, I've got a lot more stuff coming up, and we'll see what happens. I just finished working on this thing. Called Dixon Mason, which was really cool. It's an original animated series. It's a noir animation, and it looks very cool. And I play a private eye in it, and
Oh,
it's like the old kind of detective kind of things where the beautiful woman comes in and asks for help from the detective and all that kind of stuff. So it's really cool, and I hope we get a series out of it because it's just a super cool show. And there's been a few little things like that. I kind of enjoy these little one-off things that I get every once in a while that are not from the big. I love the big jobs. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not trying to say I
yeah.
don't, but every once in a while you get these little projects that are made by people that are made with love, and they really want to get their stuff out. And those are a lot of fun.
Oh man, would you do you prefer? I mean, I'm not, like I said, not saying any knock at any of the big roles or anything like that, but do you prefer like the weird, like the far fetched character over the regular, like the regular, the kind of simple characters? Because like you said, like Professor, like the dude from Monster was an incredibly odd character
Yes, he
and
was.
obsessive.
They're fun. They're fun. And I do like the characters that are close to me. It just depends. Honestly, I like I like doing shows that are well written, and I like doing characters that I can just really sink my teeth into as an actor. There's a lot of times you get called in to do jobs, and the director has a very succinct idea of what he wants that character to be, and sometimes I don't always agree with what he wants to do, but I'm hired as the actor and I'm supposed to produce for him. So I will create that character that he wants, but that's not always gratifying to me as an actor. To me as an actor, it's always fun to kind of do it as a do it together. You collaborate on a character, and that's always fun to do with a director, is create something that's unique and fun. Um, there is fun. There is one story, because we're talking about this stuff. I'm trying to remember the name of it now. Uh, it was called, I believe it was called Slade, Techno Man. It was called Techno Man.
Oh yes,
Do you
yes,
remember that show,
I
Techno
do
Man?
remember that. Yes.
Well, I played Axe and Mac. Now, Mac, when they first hired me to do that part, I had auditioned doing kind of a real gruff, blah blah blah. He's kind of like the Scotty of the ship. And then for some reason, I just started doing Sean Connery all of a sudden, and they loved it. So what happened was Mac became Scottish, which was perfect. It was like Scotty on Star Trek because it was kind of a Star Trek-ish kind of a show.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was funny. I mentioned to you earlier that I was supervising for DreamWorks, so I happened to be in Germany, and that show happened to come on the TV, and the German guy came on, and he's doing Mac with a Scottish accent. And I thought,
no.
that's fucking crazy. Now, the reason that happens is because when we dub stuff here in the U.S., we do it into English. They take, it's called FIGS. There's France, Italy, Germany, and Spain. Those are the four major countries that dub everything. They dub everything. So they have huge, like we have big movie production studios. They have big dubbing houses there. So they dub everything. So they get our scripts because we're time coded and it's written in English, and it's easier to adapt from our stuff than it is to take the original stuff and try to adapt it to that because we've already done the grunt work,
Yeah.
So, so it was interesting. He heard my character with a Scottish accent, and they thought, well, this character has to have a Scottish accent. So the actor put a Scottish accent on. So I got a chuckle out of that because here's a guy doing German with a Scottish accent.
I would love to hear how a German with a Scottish accent would sound. That just sounds interesting. It's like,
well, the weirdest thing was when I was in Germany and I would go to these Chinese restaurants, Chinese food restaurants, and the Chinese girls would speak German. That like blew my mind.
Wow.
You just don't expect that at all. I don't know why. I mean,
no, I totally understand. Like,
it just.
what was one of my bands? One of the bands I like to listen to, who did Through the Fire and Flames, Dragon Force. Like their lead guitarist Herman Lee is a really good guitarist. And completely, he's Asian, but he has a European accent, and it just every time that he talks to me, I'm like, or when he talks, I'm like, I'm never ready. It's like, oh, here we go. I need to self-adjust.
It's incongruous. It seems, yeah, I know, but it's really not. But you're not used to it, so it just seems a little off. But that really kind of blew me away.
Very interesting. And I mean, at this point in your career, is there a role out there that you would love to that's out there that you would like to play?
James Bond, of course, and Batman. I'd love to do a thing where I could do Batman and the Joker together because I do Raiden and the Joker together, and everyone, no one knows it's the same guy, or some people do, but they don't know it. It's funny. Even the guys at the NetherRealm, I met with them. I was doing a convention in Chicago. That's where NetherRealm is based, and he said, I want to bring you to the studio. He said, because there's people still there that don't believe that the one guy does the voice of the Joker and Raiden. They can't believe that. And I've been doing this for 12 years now. So
wow, really? Dang.
Yeah.
You've never been so you haven't been to NetherRealm Studios at all?
And I'm dying to get another convention in Chicago. I wish they would invite me back because I'd love to go there, and I will definitely make room out the back end of the when I'm done with the con and go see, because I really would love to go there and meet those guys. They are super talented, and talk about I mentioned earlier I like to do really well written scripts. These guys, their writing is phenomenal. I mean, they're all like movie scripts. They're really, really well done, and they just do a great job, and I'd love to meet those guys.
I think I was introduced to your I believe when you went into the Mortal Kombat series, and I'm not counting Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. I think that was kind of like a special in itself. Yeah. But when you were introduced in the Mortal Kombat series was 9, right? Like through the regular number, right?
I believe so. Well, actually, I did Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe. That was the first one I did.
The very first one,
and that was the first one that cast me as Raiden and the Joker, and they were both in that. So I was for the DC side, I was the Joker, and for Mortal Kombat, I was Raiden. And then they continued to bring me in for the shows, and then when we did Injustice, Gods Among Us, I did the Joker in that, and then they brought in Raiden as a guest star.
Oh, as a DLC
character. So that was pretty cool. They brought in Raiden, and then when they did Mortal Kombat, I was doing Raiden, and they brought in the Joker as a special guest star. So that was pretty cool. I got to be in
That's
I got to
crazy.
go back and forth on those. So that was
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
loved
mean,
it.
like you were saying with NetherRealm, though, like they do take their scripts pretty seriously because I believe they connected like
Yeah.
9, 10, and 11 all together as one gigantic
Oh yeah,
story.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah. They're amazing.
and you're the focal point of most of that story, which is even
I know
crazy.
it's fantastic. It's fantastic. It really is. And like I say, the writing is just incredible. I love it. My only wish is I wish they would have spent a little more time on Dark Raiden because he was
Yeah,
interesting, and I think they could have gone a little farther with him and have him really create some havoc there. But
for Rain to
they
go
kind of
evil
just
would be amazing. I would definitely like so at the beginning of 11. I would love to have seen him just not care. It's
yeah,
just like, here
yeah,
you
exactly. Yeah.
go. It's
But
like,
he's, I call him, he's the quintessential dad, he really is. He's always giving everybody advice and telling everybody what they should do. And, he's a really, he's a very noble and honorable character. And I love playing him. He's one of my all time
yeah.
favorite characters. I just love him to
Technically,
death.
though,
But,
it's like most of it's funny because like actually I've talked to people about that, and they're like saying that like when they played the story mode of Mortal Kombat, they're like blaming Raiden for half of what has happened because
I know,
everything that went down. And I'm just like, well, I don't even understand, but I can understand
I
him
know.
being like when he flips and he decides to go Dark Raiden. I was like thinking, okay, that's his turning point. That's when he just says, you know what? Stop blaming me. I'm just gonna take care of I'll just take care of it myself and just with just a vengeance. But no, they didn't go
Yes.
that way.
Yeah, I know. I wish they had done a little bit of that. That would have been fun.
That would have been real fun in the studio
Well,
there.
maybe he'll come back. He'll be Dark Raiden again. Who knows?
Oh yeah, let's cross our fingers. So let's give it that.
All right.
All right, and what's your and I mean, you yourself, like, do you have do you have a personal fandom like comics, books, gaming? Like, what is it that you like to like? What
James
is it that you like
Bond.
to do?
We talked about that.
James
James Bond is
Bond.
my yeah. I love James Bond.
It's weird. Do you think we would ever see a day of an American actor playing that character, that role?
I don't see why not, to be honest with you, because we have incredible actors in America. And listen, they have incredible actors in England too, but it kind of irks me a little bit that they always feel okay about letting the English guys play Americans, but they have a real problem with Americans playing English. And there are
Yeah.
guys that have flawless English accents, just like there's English guys that have flawless American accents. It's acting. It's called acting, Just because you're playing a murderer doesn't mean you have to be a murderer, you know what I mean?
uh,
So I think that they should allow it. They did consider it, and I think this would have been a horrible choice. But they did do a screen test for James Brolin at one point when Connery was quitting, and that would have been,
oh
I
wow.
think, a disaster. And
Oh, so
also,
this was like a young James Brolin, so that would have
yeah, I was
been.
very young. Yeah, it was very young. It was around the time Connery was wanted to quit,
Oh wow.
and it's not that he can't look the part, I guess, but I don't think he would be right for that character at all. But obviously James Bond is English, so
Hmm.
whoever plays him has got to have an English accent, So,
Yeah,
but
but
it
like you
doesn't
were
mean
saying,
that.
it's like acting, but like I've never seen like I like for some reason it's weird because like to me like I don't know, maybe I've been conditioned because like every James Bond character was always British, like it was always been a British a British actor, but like to me it just seems like I don't
Well,
think
George
I'll ever see
Lazenby
it.
was Australian,
Oh yeah, that's true. But how many movies did
and
he have?
I think Chris Hemsworth would be a great James Bond. To be honest with you, I think he would be a kick-ass
You
James
don't
Bond.
think Henry Cavill would do it? I think Cavill would.
I think I think he really looks the part. I
Uh
think
huh.
he looks great, and he would be great. I would be curious to see how he would play him because from everything I've seen, I haven't really seen anything James Bondish about him. But I
Yeah.
thought his Napoleon Solo was really good. But
There was
I don't
a
know. I'd be curious.
I
And
forgot the name of
he's
the
actually
movie.
British. He
Yeah.
is a Brit. So
I forgot the name of the movie that he was in, but there was a movie with him. He was playing a spy, and then he had to help. He had to work with another spy from a different country, and that basically. I need to find the name of that movie, but like
I'll
it
have to
was.
see that.
Yeah, it was he did a really good job in it.
He was great as the bad guy in that Mission
Mission
Impossible, the last
Impossible.
one.
You know, it's
Yeah,
funny.
that was a great Mission Impossible. I thought that was really good.
Every time when I think of that one, it's like it's always the bathroom scene when he comes, he's about to fight him. He just kind of cocks his arms a little bit. It's like
Yeah,
boom,
yeah.
boom, like a double barrel shotgun. I'm like,
I know.
well, it's like that's how you know. It's like okay, you don't want to mess with that guy.
Yeah, yeah. That
he,
was
he looks weird with
he
the
was great.
yeah. He looks weird with the mustache though. That's I
Yeah,
will
yeah,
say
he
that.
did look good as a mustache. That was well, he didn't want to look like Superman,
Oh,
but
okay.
that was a really great fight scene in that bathroom. That was an
Oh,
amazing fight scene.
yeah. You know, he would have destroyed Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is like 5'5" or something, like really short
Yeah,
dude versus really bulk of muscle, like Superman
I know.
essentially. Oh, it's
Yeah,
called The Man from Uncle, by the way. Yeah,
yeah. Man from Uncle. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned that Napoleon Solo. That's who he played in
Oh,
that
that's who he
Napoleon.
was. Okay,
Yeah,
my mistake. All
and
right.
he did a great job. He really and he imbued a lot of Robert Vaughn in his performance. I really felt a little bit of a Robert Vaughn in there, which was really kind of cool. He was the original Napoleon Solo and the original Man from Uncle on television.
Oh,
So,
see. I didn't even know there was a TV show. To be honest, that's how young I am.
oh,
That's how young I am.
you kids today, I tell you.
All right. And then I guess simple question. I mean, I know you've been working with them for a long time, but still DC or Marvel?
Oh, that's so tough. That's really tough because I actually, you were asking me about, you know, fandom and comic books and all that. As a kid, I would read Batman comic books. I love
Hmm.
Batman comic books, and but I have to say, Marvel is just really taking the lead on these movies. Their
Hmm.
movies are phenomenal, and I would love to see DC. Step up and
Hmm.
do more stuff like that. They could do a Justice League movie like they did, the Avengers, that kind of thing, and do it with all their characters.
Hmm.
I mean, those characters that DC have they're iconic characters. They're just iconic characters,
Yeah.
and there's no reason why they can't, do. I love them both, though. It's really hard to choose.
I
I would
wouldn't
love to
say,
see a.
yeah, I won't make
Go
you
ahead.
choose, but I would say that, like, I mean, like, which would you prefer, like, if between the two, so you can play both
You're gonna get me in
lines.
trouble either way. I love them both. Let's leave it at that.
Oh my gosh.
I was going to mention something. I went out of my mind. But anyway, go ahead. What
Oh
were you
no,
going to
I'm
say?
just, yeah. I mean, like, I loved, I've always been a fan of X-Men, so like I can't.
Yeah, yeah. See,
Like diversity. That's why I am so like waiting until they decide to say, "Hey, we got the rights. We got now. We don't have any reason to not have a non Brian Singer like direct Disney directed X-Men series would be amazing to me."
yeah,
So
that would be amazing.
yeah, yeah. And then you
I would
did
love to
play
see. I would love to see Marvel versus
DC.
Mortal Kombat. You know,
Oh yeah, that would be a lot of
I would
good
love to see
characters.
that. Yeah, I would love to see that. And there was talk at one point, I guess, of them doing something like that. I don't know. I would love to see that. I hope it happens. That would be very, very cool.
I wonder if they're going to have the same kind of stipulations they did with the DC one, where they're like, when the Joker, like they were really strict on like fatalities for that game. I
Yeah,
remember
they have to just kind of loosen up a little bit. These guys, I know they have. That's their job to watch out for that stuff. But it's like I think the fans would love it and they go crazy, and it would be a license to print money. Really, I think people would go
very
nuts and
much so.
just really, really love it.
Very much so. And I didn't even know this though too, because I was actually when I was looking at kind of doing my research, but like you did a small role in the X-Men animated movie series back in the early 90s as like a dude named Gladiator or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, that's right. I was Gladiator. That's correct. Yeah,
Yeah, that was like
yeah.
and
I
I'm like,
love
oh,
Gladiator. He was really cool. He was actually he was their version of Superman, essentially. And if
essentially
you look at him, he looks a lot like Superman.
just purple.
Yeah,
That's all,
he's got a mohawk, but he's got the upside the V thing on his
oh yeah.
chest,
Yeah.
and he flies and he's all powerful, and
just
You
threw
know,
saw the clip. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. He did throw Juggernaut into space. So yeah,
that's right.
that was hilarious. That's pretty cool. And
And I did, speaking of Juggernaut, I did Juggernaut's efforts in the Deadpool movie, and I also did Colossus's efforts in the Deadpool in both the 1 and 2.
really, I didn't
So
know
I did a lot
that.
of that stuff. Yeah, there's so much stuff that I've done. It's crazy. We're talking about Batman. My wife and I met Bob Kane before he
What?
passed away. Yeah.
Like in the
And we had a
80s?
nice conversation. Yeah, it was a long time ago, but we had a conversation with him, and he said to me, Richard, you know what you need to make it in this business? I said, what? He said, you need to invent a character like Batman. I said, okay, thanks, Bob. I'll keep that in mind.
You know, he's already on that.
that's
Like,
that's
what?
great, Bob.
Why was Bob Kane didn't like how did he survive the you remember like what happened to Charles Schultz and all that stuff?
Yeah.
It's like he didn't seem like he that he had the same kind of problem
Well, he was
with his
smart. You know,
character.
Bob Kane was super smart about it. I'll tell you, he held on to that thing for dear life, and he was smart to do that. And so did look, Stan Lee did the same thing. The poor guys who created Superman sold it for a
Pennies.
ridiculous amount of money. I don't even know what it was. It was like nothing, like
Yeah.
$100 or
Yeah,
something
it was
ridiculous.
mhm.
And they lost that whole franchise, and they 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 could have really made bank on that, but they were desperate and they gave it up, unfortunately.
Oh, wow,
But
that's
they should have held on to it. Bob Kane held on to Batman forever, and he was rewarded as a result.
very much
And look
well.
at Stan Lee. Stan Lee built an empire, a huge empire with his characters. It's funny when you hear those guys. They started out just drawing comics. They were just artists drawing comics, and then they did very well for themselves. So see, there's hope for everybody. Keep doing what you're doing and believe in yourself and keep going. And you too may wind up being super wealthy and doing really well for yourself.
Just then you like who knows you're going to be the next big thing. Exactly.
That's right. You never know. Who the hell knows?
And do you?
Life's a crapshoot anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, especially right now.
It is. It's a crapshoot. I've been very fortunate in my life, but there's a lot of people. Listen, there's a lot of super talented people out there that are struggling. You just have to keep on keeping on. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I definitely understand. Gotta do the struggle. Definitely understand.
Yeah.
And do you prefer do you prefer doing like a role, one role more than the others? Like example, like a video game role over maybe a cartoon or anime series, or did you have like a preference that you kind of lean towards two more than the others?
Well, to be honest with you, with very few exceptions, I would prefer doing a original animated show or a game, just because you get to create a character and you don't have to worry about trying to dub it into lip sync the character.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to create a character, and it's a lot more, you're a lot more free to do what you want to do. Whereas in anime, you're dubbing and you're replacing uh, Japanese usually is the language, and you're replacing that into English, and you have to concentrate on doing the lip sync and all that other stuff. Whereas you don't have those constraints when you're doing the other stuff. So the other stuff is a little more freeing, and I think sometimes you can be a little more creative because it's you creating the character. Whereas when you're dubbing, you're really locked into trying to make it sound like that guy that we're looking at on screen and that sort of thing. So and also those other things pay a lot better than anime.
Oh my
So,
god.
but as I said, there's two exceptions. I love doing Jigen and Lupin the Third. I've been doing it for 20 years now, and I also direct a lot of it, and I write a
Mm-hmm.
lot of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
The movie that just came out, Lupin the Third, the first, which was a CGI Lupin, which was beautiful. I wrote the adaptation for that, and I played Jigen in that, of course. And the other one is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Joseph Joestar. I love that character so much. He was one of my favorite characters, and I really enjoyed playing him a lot.
Oh, see, that's pretty cool though. But yeah, it's funny because when I've talked to other people, they say all the same thing. Like, I'm actually surprised because I feel like sometimes it seems like you have to work more with doing anime voiceover than you would for other ones because, like you said,
You do. Yeah.
yeah, and but
And it
I
pays
just
less.
don't. Yeah, but I don't understand why it pays less. That doesn't make sense to me. It's like, is it because it's not union, or is it because like
No,
there's just
no, it
other
is
outside
union,
powers?
but you know, it's been created in such a way that that usually when you make a project, let's say you make a kind of cartoon series in Japan, you have that, and you want to get it out to the rest of the world. So the best way to do that is to dub your project. And you know, a lot of times you've already spent your budget on creating the cartoon show, so you don't have a big budget to dub it with, and that's why dubbing is kind of traditionally been not great pay, because they see it as kind of the back end of a project.
Mm,
You know, when a project's done, then they do the dubbing on it. You know, it's not always like that, but occasionally it is, and thankfully, actually, right now it's gotten a lot better. This year, they passed a new rule for you know, SAG, our union passed a new rule that ups the pay on dub projects,
mm.
so that you're going to be making we'll be making better money now. But it's, you know, it's still not what the you know, the original animation or the games are. But you know, that's okay. This and you know, baby steps. You know,
Yeah, it's going
but
somewhere. At
but
least it's going a different direction. So that's
yeah, you know, you have to look at it like a different. It's a different art form, basically, is really what it is. And you know, and unfortunately, that particular art form doesn't pay great. But you know, listen, I have a lot of fans from doing those shows, so it's not lost on me. And the fans love those shows, and they love to come see us at conventions and that sort of thing. And that's great, and I love all that. So you know, that's where you get the additional pay from, if you ask me, is
that
from
is true.
doing the conventions, meeting the fans, and that sort of thing.
That's great. Yeah. And like you said earlier though, about like, one of the roles that you like to do in the anime was Jigen, which I was going to bring. I had a specific question for that because it kind of irritates me because like
Okay.
you've been doing Jigen for 20 years. Like I believe you've always been Jigen, right? Like theoretically in the English dubs, correct?
No,
Like I mean,
there are other
or was it
people
someone
that have
before
done
that?
Jigen.
Oh,
Yeah,
for English?
there
Okay.
there were other people that did Jigen, not as well as I did it, but
Yeah, I like that. I like that you're not up at that ego right there. But so were you a part of it in Castle Cagliostro? Was that you
N-
or
uh, no, and supposedly I did Goemon in that, but I don't believe that's true. I know they kind of credit me for that, but which would mean I've done Jigen and I've done Zenigata and several of the things as well, and I've done I would have done Goemon. So the only two left would be Lupin and Fujiko.
Fujiko?
So it'd be interesting to hear me do Fujiko,
To
but
do
Michelle
Fujiko?
does it so perfectly. No one can do it better than Michelle. So, and no one, honestly, I don't think anybody can do Lupin better than Tony. So,
Oh
I
yeah.
think I put this cast together.
Uh
I
huh.
put this cast together when we did the Red Jacket series. I cast all these guys, and I thought they were fantastic. Now, what's funny was I wasn't supposed to be Jigen because I was directing it, and I didn't want to be a member of the cast. I wanted to just concentrate on directing. Well, we went through like about 200 guys. I auditioned. I brought in a bunch of guys, and the producers never liked any of them. And
Mm.
one day we're just sitting there after all the auditions, and they looked at me. They said, "Richard, you go in the booth and read it." So I went in the booth and I read it, and I came out and they said, "We found our Jigen." And at first I wasn't happy about it because I didn't want to play a character and direct myself, but I'm so glad it happened because he really is truly one of my favorite characters, and I
Yeah.
love doing him. And I feel a real kindredship with him and with the series, and I love working on it. And I'm so happy that I'm Jigen, and I love doing him. So uh, it turned out to be a really, really great thing.
Sounds like the producers set you up. They're like, you know what? It's like whatever he picks in, just say no. Just wait. We gotta wait to that opportunity to get him in that
Well, they
sound
may
booth.
have. They may have. Well, you know, they also didn't like Tony, and they kept fighting me with Tony. They wanted to get rid of him, and
Oh no, they can't.
I kept saying no, no, he's perfect, and they kept saying no, we don't like him, and we don't think he's right. And anyway, we had him come back. He came back 3 days. in a row and redid the first episode 3 different ways,
Oh
and
wow.
they still didn't like them. And I had to sell them on it, and I finally convinced them. I don't know how I convinced them, but I finally did. I said, the problem is that they grew up with the series in Japan, and they had whoever the guy was in Japan who played Lupin, they had his voice in their head, and they wanted the American to sound the same way. But the people at that time when we first did it, it was no one had seen the show really. No
Mhm.
one had really seen Lupin. So I said, this is a perfect fit for this character. As an English speaker, I think this would really work. So anyway, I finally convinced him, and I'm so glad I did, because honestly, I can't imagine anybody else playing him, and a lot of people say the same thing. And I just think our cast is stellar. I know there are other casts out there, and they're all good people, and I don't, listen, I don't begrudge them, but I really feel like our cast is the best cast for Lupin the Third.
I would highly agree. But the little thing I have with it is that like I've always wondered like the way that they recorded these the Lupins, or like you said, you started it in the 90s, but then was that the Red Jacket series? Was that the one
The
that they
Red
did
Jacket series
for
was the
Cartoon
first one,
Network?
yeah.
Yeah. So they
Yes.
did that for a bit, but it feels like they just it just disappears for a bit, couple of years, and then they're like,
Well,
let's.
it did. It did. It disappeared for a long time because there
But it was
wasn't a
so
lot of content.
popular. It was so
Well,
popular on Cartoon Network.
I know it was. It was super popular. But then what happened? This is a crazy story. This just shows you how crazy this business is. I get a call one day from the studio. He says, "Hey, are you interested in directing a project?" I said, "Yeah, what is it?" And he says, "This cartoon show I just got. I think it's called Lupin the Third. I'm not really sure." And I said, "Oh my god!" And it was total. It was total, happenstance that it happened. I mean, you would think that after I did the Red Jacket series, they would go seek me out, but they didn't, and it fell in my lap again, kind of by coincidence. And I, I said, "Oh my God, this is great!" And I said, "I want to bring back the original cast." And the company that had hired the studio said, "Oh my God, well, they must be ancient now. How old are these guys?" So we had to go back, and we had to do voice tests for all the characters
Mhm.
to make sure we still sounded the same, and we did. Of course, we sounded the same. So they hired all of us. We all passed the test, and then I directed this with my wife. It was part 4 we did. It was the Blue
Mhm.
Jacket series. They released that, and it became one of the top shows on Cartoon Network. So then they did part 5, and now they're doing part 6, which we're part of. And then TMS came and approached me and my company. My wife and I have a company called Epcar Entertainment, to co-direct part 1, which had never been dubbed.
Oh wow, I
So
didn't know
we
that.
just finished doing that. Yeah, we just finished that, and that's going to be released next year, or maybe this year. Maybe it'll be
But it
released
feels
this year.
so. It's just like Lupin, like you're saying, like that just sounds insane. Like I
It
mean,
is.
like just
It is insane.
because like in my opinion, it's just like you say, like you find gold, right? You pick up the first nugget, you're like, wow, I'm a millionaire. Then you see that there's mounds of it right there, but you decide to like put dirt and just like cover it up and forget about it until you come back again like
Well,
years
that's a good
later.
way to put it.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
it's like because
Well,
like there
they
hasn't
don't
been
do
one.
their
Oh, I'm sorry.
they don't do their no, I was just going to say a lot of these guys, they don't do their homework. They get these projects, they don't know what they are, they don't care. I mean, for example, I was E Hondo in Street Fighter. Well,
Mhm.
a new guy came and took the franchise, and he didn't know I was E Hondo, and he cast somebody else. Same thing with Gaius Van Balsar. I played that in Final Fantasy 14, and then they
Mhm.
did another one, and they hired another guy. And I don't know if they didn't know I played that character before, or they had a new crew. Sometimes they hire new studios or new crews, and they come in and they either don't know that you've done this character, or they just want to put their own spin on the
Mhm.
character or the story, so they want to hire their own guys. But you know, there's really not a lot of loyalty in this business. So the fact that I got to do Lupin again, I was so thrilled. And now I feel like we're a lot more cemented in because, we just came back from the New York Anime New York,
Mhm.
and they had a big Lupin panel for us. TMS had it and wanted us to be there. And so we did it, and so now I feel like they realize that, and they even told me this is true. They said you guys are even more popular than the original Japanese cast.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I
So
mean,
so
well
so
deserved.
we yeah, thank you. So we, we're now we're I think we're a lot more cemented in than we were before. So now that we've
Yeah.
done I don't know 4 or 5 series and I don't know how many movies. There's must have been at least 10, 15 movies we've done and games and all that. So and I've directed a lot, I've directed and written a lot of the movies that had never been dubbed too for
Right.
Discotheque Media. So we're just doing a lot of Lupin, and we love Lupin, and we just we're happy to see it thriving
I
again.
mean, what would you know? I mean, it's not like you've worked on it for almost 20 years on the back end.
Yeah,
So, I mean, but no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
no, but that's great. I'm just glad. I'm just glad it's back. I watched Lupin the first, the CG one, which I was surprised of how good they did the animation without, upgrading. It's not really like it's upgraded, but it's still to its
But
original core, the
it still looks
style.
like them. They still
Yeah,
look like them.
exactly. Yeah,
Except
so
Jigen's a much hotter now,
yeah,
much
he is.
hotter.
It's hot Jigen now. That's what it is.
I
There
like
needs to
that
be,
hot Jigen.
yeah, it needs to be a new
It's
hashtag.
better than fried Jigen, I guess, right?
That is true. All right, and and then there's also something I kind of wanted to confirm with you. One more thing. Is it
Sure.
true that the
No, it's
folks at
lies. Oh, sorry.
the folks at Square Enix like gave you the role to be the new voice of Ansem? Like they just said, "Who did this? Okay, give it to him." Like in Kingdom Hearts. Like, is that what really
Well,
happened?
what really well, see, as I said, I've done over 600 roles that I
Hmm.
voiced.
Hmm.
And that doesn't count all the ones that I've directed and written for. I mean, that's another hundreds and hundreds of movies and roles and things. But uh, the reason I got the part of Ansem was the guy who plays Ansem in Japan does the voice of Bateau in Ghost in the Shell. So the producers, when Billy Zane wasn't going to return, he did the first one.
Hmm.
And when they needed Ansem for the next one, the Japanese clients ask Disney. They said, "Who does the voice of Bateau in America?" And they said, "Richard Epcar." They said, "Okay, hire him." So they hired me, and I didn't know anything about the game. I didn't know anything about anything, and they just went in there. Now I've done 8 of those games
Yes. Oh
since
wow.
then.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you
it's
didn't do any
it,
kind of they didn't like, okay, let did any kind of vetting or nothing. They just like, hey, he played this dude in another anime series that we probably published. So let's just
yeah.
do it.
That was it. The guy that does Ansem in Japan does the voice of Bateau. I do the voice of Bateau in English. So they said, "Who does the voice of Bateau?" And they said Richard Epcar. So they hired me, and that's how I got that job. Now I have to say I can count on one hand the times I've been hired without auditioning.
Oh.
So
Wow.
that for me that was really nice. I like that. I'd like to get more of that. To be honest with you,
So that's
you
so
know.
technically it's pretty much, it is uncommon for that to kind of, that's an odd, I mean, like, but that's a great role though. I mean, because you definitely filled that role perfectly for your
Oh,
character, and I
thank
mean,
you, thank
yeah, I
you.
mean, and everyone loves you for it. So so
Thank
it's
you.
awesome. Yeah. So like, but I just wanted to know if that was real, like, 'cause I was like, there's no way they would have just said, okay, let's just get like, okay, not do their homework and just do that. But wow, but now since you kind of gave me a little bit of the insight of how things work with Lupin, now I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's a miracle, and we have to remind ourselves that every once in a while. It's almost a miracle every time you get a job in this town because it's just so many things that could happen and so many things that could change. I'm so lucky. I've been doing this for so many years, and I've been working, and like I say, it gets better every year. And I think it's great because like I say, you see so many people that even people that have been on television series and stuff like that are fantastic, and then they disappear off the face of the earth. You never see them again, and you go, what the hell happened to that guy? He was great. So it's just it's such a roll of the dice sometimes, this business. It's and that's why I tell I have to tell people honestly, if you want to get into this business, if it's something you want to do, you have to realize that there is that element to it that it's not like you can necessarily work your way up. Sometimes you can, but
Mhm.
sometimes you work your way up, and then you have to start all over again. When I did the supervising for DreamWorks, I told you I was out of the country for a year or two. When I came back, I literally had to start my voiceover career over again because it's like people forget about you and they move on to the next person.
Oh my goodness. It's just
I
like,
know, it's crazy.
it's just, hey, but you persevered. I mean, like I said, I really think you're definitely one of the icons of it, in my
Thank
opinion.
you.
So,
Thank
like,
you. I appreciate that.
yeah, I've grown up to you in so many different levels, like
Yeah.
Diagnostics Murdered all the way to Lupin the Third to me, and all these different other things in between. So,
It's a crazy, and honestly, I really love it because I've been able to play such a variety of characters. There's so many actors that are on TV, and they're basically just playing themselves.
mm,
In every show they're on, they just see the same actor, and he's the same guy, but in a different show. You know what I mean?
right,
And
no,
so and listen, there's nothing wrong with that, and those actors are wonderful actors. I'm not capping on anybody. I'm just saying, I'm fortunate enough with the voice stuff that I can just be any character I can imagine vocally. I can play that character. So for me, that's just it really makes it interesting and creative for me.
oh my god, yeah, definitely. All right, one final question, and I do this for
Sure.
everybody. Everyone,
Oh,
like a voice actor, anyone that's a voice actor, I always want to see what they choose, and it could be anything. So, like, what is
oh,
one of the craziest lines that you had to say? And it could be out of context. It could be anything that you like. It
oh.
doesn't have to be like the craziest, but the one that you remember that you said, I was like, you want me to say what? That kind of thing. Is there anything in your
Oh
like
my
out there
God,
that
I'm
kind of
sure
sticks
there
out?
were. I wish I
Oh,
could think of one
yeah.
though. Oh my goodness. Oh my
I do.
goodness. There's
It's yeah, because like we're gonna like at the end of the every year at the end of the year we do a montage of it, and then we should to be like, and then kind of do a list, a really cool, a fun thing. One of my editors does that, and we had
well,
some
there
pretty
was
fun
there
ones.
was a there was a. I mean, I'm going way, way, way back.
Mhm.
We do these what I call chop sake movies when we were first starting out, and they were movies that were martial arts movies, and they were usually pretty bad, and the dialogue was pretty bad, and there was crazy lines, and a lot of stuff didn't make sense. But there was one line as something like, how disrespectful of you to punch me in the spleen." It was like these lines that you have to kind of try to deliver and make them sound natural. It was like just these crazy. I wish I could remember more. There, we made a list of them because they were so ridiculous. We wrote them down because there were so many of them that were just hilarious.
Oh, how disrespectful!
How disrespectful of
Oh,
you to hit me in the
I
spleen.
love it. That sounds like a Power Rangers, like a enemy, like just like randomly, like boom. It's like that's your
And then
spleen.
Power Rangers. I played 40 different monsters on Power Rangers.
Oh my
I
god.
voiced 40 different, and I also I co-directed a lot of the shows that they did.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't even.
Yeah,
Wow, the dubbing of that must have been like free range, like free,
that was
like
that was pretty nutty. I got to tell you, yeah, that was pretty nutty.
only with
Well,
free.
they would take all the action sequences when the guys were in their suits,
Uh-huh.
and that was all from the original show in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would overdub it. But the other stuff they would shoot, and this is my wife still kicks me for this because they wanted me to direct the live action acting stuff, which I wish I had done now. At the time, I didn't really. I was super busy with my voice stuff, and I wasn't really interested in it, to be honest with you. But I wish I had done it because I'd probably be directing it on camera television right now. So that would have been a cool thing.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I've been very lucky. Like I say, I've done so many different things in this business. It's really nuts. But it's been fun, and it's been a good ride so far. So I hope it lasts.
Oh well, I hope so too. But I am definitely glad. I hope, yeah, I hope we see you with many, many. We'll get you up to 1,000 roles, and it'll be like the
There you
ultimate.
go.
There you
Well, I'm
go.
on my way. I'll tell you, I'm definitely on my way.
Richard Epcar, thank you so much for geeking out with me today. It was a pleasure. It was awesome. Is that? Would you like to
That
like
was my
maybe?
geek out. Woo!
Yeah, yeah.
Looks
Is
like
there?
more like a prostate exam, I think, than
It's
geeking out. But
freeze frame right there itself. is is there a convention that you're going to be coming like is the next convention you're going to be
oh,
going to?
I'm glad you. I'm gonna. Yes, I'm glad you asked that. Actually, we just finished Anime LA, as you know, which was
Hmm.
which one was our most fun conventions that we love. My wife and I, Ellen Stern and I. Yeah, let me see what we got coming up. We got, let's see here. I know we've got two in, oh yeah. So we're doing WeebCon, which
Mhm.
is in Dallas, Texas. It's going to be February 4th, 5th, and 6th. Come on out and see us in Dallas, Texas, WeebCon. And then we're doing a big one that we love. We love these guys. They're super, super nice. And they have a wonderful convention, Katsucon in Maryland.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the bigger ones. And we're going to be there February 18th, 19th, and 20th. So February 18th through the 20th will be at Katsucon. And let me see, is there anything else in March coming up? Oh, well, we're supposed to do this King Kong cruise with
Wow.
John St. John to the Bahamas. But, with COVID and everything, who knows if that's going to happen or not. So we'll see. And that's supposed to be the first week of March. And if that's something that interests you to do it's basically a convention on a cruise ship, which is going to be a lot of fun.
That's
So if that's something
interesting.
if that's something that sounds like fun, come see it. You can hang out with us. And Ellen will be there, John St. John, myself, and Wes Johnson, and a couple other people.
Ooh, that's
And
nice.
we're going to have a blast. We're going to have a lot of fun. So
I might actually see.
those are the conventions.
Yeah, I actually might swing by a WeebCon. I'm in Texas. I'm in Dallas right now.
Oh,
So
nice. Okay, cool.
yeah,
Wonderful.
so that would be pretty awesome to
I love,
swing.
my wife, she's really worried about COVID, which we all should be worried about it. But
Mhm.
there is a place in Dallas, Bob's. Have you been there, Bob's
Oh yeah,
Steakhouse?
the
Oh my
steakhouse. Heck
God.
yeah, yeah.
I love it. And I said, if I ever get back to Dallas, I'm coming to the steakhouse. And then, of course, my wife said, well, you can't go there because it's indoor dining. So
Oh,
unless Bob's has put a patio out there that I don't know about, we can do that. But
maybe get Uber Eats with Bob's. I don't
yeah, that
know.
might be worth it.
Yeah, that would be
It's
perfect.
funny. One of my first commercial jobs I did in Texas, it was for, I think it was in Dallas. It was a place called Trail Dust Steakhouse. Do you remember that place? Was
I
that before your
do
time?
not know that. Yeah, I never heard of
Okay,
that
so
one.
it's probably before your time. But I played, what was his name? God, I just totally went up on him. Uh, it was a Clint Eastwood character, but he was
Like Dirty Harry.
it was like, yeah, I said, go ahead, make my steak. And it was, oh God, I can't remember. It was a funny name, but we call him Clint Mesquitewood. That's what his name was, Clint Mesquitewood. And so I was Clint Mesquitewood in all of these Trail Dust Steakhouse commercials, and they would fly me there, and they would have these giant steaks, like 72-ounce steaks.
Oh my god.
And if you could eat it, they wouldn't charge you because nobody could finish it. But I like an idiot finished it.
Oh,
So
you must have felt terrible the next day
I
over.
was so full, and then I had to record my session the next day, and I felt like I needed a wheelbarrow to get there.
That's method
But
acting.
that was method acting. It was great. But I've done so many commercials and shows, and it's been really, I've been very, very blessed and fortunate. It's been great. It's been, like I say, I've been very, very happy, and I just want to keep going. So that's what
Yeah.
we're doing.
And yeah, that's awesome. That's great to hear. Well, guys, like I said, definitely check out Richard Epcar. Check out his amazing library. Watch Lupin. If you don't know what Lupin is, you need to go check it out on like online. Great
Yeah.
series, and it's historical. So, but Rich,
follow me on Instagram, please. Follow me on Instagram.
oh yes, and what's your Instagram?
It's Richard Epcar on Instagram.
Okay, there you go.
It's easy. Richard Epcar on Instagram.
All right, guys.
I
Thank
make
you
it
so
easy.
much for listening over at this.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. And guys, like I said, if you want to listen to more, check out our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com, or we will release these out on all podcast services. So we're on Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, everywhere. So so stay tuned for more awesome, great content. So guys, this is David signing off. Y'all take it easy.